we help people understand that there was work we did before getting here. And as relationship coaches, we have helped other couples to prepare for different seasons, whether it's becoming empty nesters, whether it's preparing for retirement, whatever it is. We've seen couples do it right. We've seen couples do it wrong. And we just want to help couples to be able, before you make that next step into whatever that season is, whether you move in here to Panama, or even your kids are transitioning from middle school to high school, whatever it is, have you prepared? Have you done the work for your relationship to make sure that you guys are good going into the next season?
What receipts do we have that that's worked?
Oh,
What?
we worked in the lives of probably thousands of couples. We have couples that have been on the brink of divorce that have
Mm-hmm.
come to us, and we've been able to help them to navigate through their issues and do the work. And today they have successful relationships. We've also had couples that have come in and that were able to make a determination that either one or both wasn't willing to do the work,
Right.
and they were able to part ways amicably. I think the reality is that marriage takes work.
Yeah.
And if you both are not willing to do the work, it's kind of hard
Right.
to go up that hill. We've had more couples, definitely, that have been successful. We've had couples come to us that were engaged, or they were dating, that wound up getting engaged, that got married. So we've helped couples through all phases of their relationship.
If you can answer yes to this question, then you need to listen further. Have you ever seen a situation with your marriage where you went into a season and the season showed you something that you wasn't prepared for? Then you need to listen. If you're the person that is going from parenting adolescents to parenting young adults, the transition, the hardship, the toil that it took on your relationship, you need to continue to listen. If you're the person where, quite frankly, the kids are gone, you are empty nesters, and you are feeling like, oh my God, I'm now looking at this person that I don't really know. This video is going to help you. My name is Glenn P. Brooks Jr. I am a relationship coach. I'm an author. I'm a speaker. I'm a pastor. This lovely, beautiful Jill Scott ish wearing Bush, I love it thing going on.
Is Cherie A. Brooks Jr. I am a relationship coach, an author, a speaker as well, and co pastor. And we'd like you to join us as we get into why some couples struggle and others don't when seasons change in marriage.
Stay tuned. Hey, babe, we're back, and this is going to be something of a shift a little bit about what we've been talking about recently, because I think there are a ton of people who've come to know us but really don't know us. They think they do because of the current information that we were talking about in terms of us, living here in Panama. But I want people to get an idea of about the why behind, how our relationship has succeeded through the seasons we've gone through. We're going to talk a little bit about why some people make it and some people don't. And I think that, quite frankly, it really is about the work you put in.
Right. And I think oftentimes people see us, they see other people online that have made a major change, that have moved abroad, or even watching people move into retirement or different phases in their relationship, and looking from the outside in. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get to that place in my relationship. But there was work we had to do before getting here, before we could move to Panama, which we love being here in Panama. We love being semi-retired here in Panama. There was things that we had to do in order to shore up our relationship. And I think a lot of times couples come up, it's funny. It's like, this, when is Christmas? You guys say the date. When is Christmas?
Put it in the chat.
It's the same day every year. But you have people always scrambling the beginning of December. Oh my gosh, Christmas is here. I got to do this, that, and the other. We as human beings have the tendency to not prepare for the inevitable. Inevitably, if you have children, they're going to eventually leave home.
Yep. Facts.
Inevitably,
you want that to happen.
Right. Prayerfully, they're going to leave home at some point. Not saying put them out, but at some
Right.
point, they're going to leave the nest.
That's the end goal.
Right. They're going to leave the nest because they're going to go out and be productive, independent individuals on their own.
Right.
Inevitably, at some point, you're going to retire. You're going to stop working a full-time job. Now, you may still do something because you want to stay busy.
Yeah.
But that traditional 9 to 5, you're going to retire from that. Or even if
Exactly.
you own your business, the goal is that one day you will be able to step back and not have as much responsibility. Eventually, you may decide, in retirement, you may want to go find your dream place. If it's moving abroad, if it's living out in the country where it's just the two of you, whatever it is, living on the beach, whatever it is. These are things that are going to happen at some point in your marriage, in your relationship, but people don't plan for this. We just go through life doing the day-to-day, and then you look up and it's like, hey, I put in my papers for retirement. Like, hey, I put mine in. Now we're retired.
Right. Now, what do we do?
What do we do? And not so much what do we do as individuals. What do we do with this?
Yeah. If I can, I'd like to jump in because that preparation started for us with a person who had already done that work. I want y'all to think about that for a second. Cherie and I have been blessed over the years. We've been married 26 years in a row. I was married for 12 years prior to Cherie. I like to say that I've been married for more than 30 years to 2 different women, right? And the truth of the matter is that I can honestly say that the pitfalls and what caused me to fail the first time was not having an example of people who looked like me at my station of life, and this is important, that was willing to basically mentor me or bring me along and show me what I needed to know before I needed to know it so that I could prepare for that thing when I got there. And when you talk about inevitabilities, I think that that's the thing that most of us allow sort of culture to create this blindfold that says, well, I know they're going to drive, but I'm not thinking about that at 5. The problem is if you don't put any energy into that from 5 to 16, now you'll have a teenager wanting a car, wanting freedom, wanting the keys, and you haven't thought about it.
Right.
And the problem is that it puts a strain on your relationship. Now, in the moment, Cherie is all for it. I'm not. We got a riff. Now we beefing, and before you know it, the kid is confused.
Right.
And I just think that when we had people who were willing to tell us how they did a thing, it changed everything for us. And that's one of the reasons why we're doing this workshop coming up next week. And I think that if you guys are really, really interested and you're intentional about wanting to fix a problem before it becomes a problem or fix an issue that may become a problem, do yourself a favor, get into this workshop. You can check out the links below in the description, in the in the comments, or even, quite frankly, if this is on Instagram where you're seeing us, check out the link in our bio. But babe, that was a game changer. Talk to people a little bit about how critical it was for you to have a person that you could say, yo, like, you did this already, and I watched you navigate this. How did you do that? What did you do, and can I do the same?
Well, I think it was critical for me to be able to see it being done because I grew up in an era where, as parents, you're supposed to put your all into your kids. It's all about them. You don't have a life. You put your life on hold until your kids are grown. And that there's a balance that needs to be made with that. I think, yes, you do devote, you're responsible for your children, and there are things you need to be able to make time for them. But you also have to have time for you. You also have to have time for your relationship, because what happens is if I've invested the last 18 years just into my children, when they go off to college or when they leave home, I have not been investing in my relationship. So therefore, I no longer know this person. The last time we were really, vested in the relationship may have been before the kids were born, early on in our marriage. And we've just been going through the motions of managing the relationship, managing the household, really, not even the relationship, for the past 18 years. So seeing somebody model for me what that looked like to prioritize your relationship was key, because it taught me, it helped me to make a mind shift. It helped me to change my mindset when it came to marriage, that marriage is a priority, that I had to make that a priority. Now, I had been married 2 times before Glenn, and marriage was just an extension of dating. I did not understand the full gravity of marriage, in either of those relationships. But when we got married, my daughter was a preteen. Glenn had a young son. We got together. We became a blended family. But we, from the very beginning, decided we had to prioritize our relationship, because we knew that if that was not solid, the rest of the family was not going to be solid. And one thing I just want to say, I know it's kind of generational in one sense as far as the mindset, but then it's also how you've been raised, what's been modeled before you, because there are some younger people that are following that same old model. And I just want to caution you that, number one, this workshop that we're doing next week is not just for people that are in their 50s, 60s, approaching retirement. You could be earlier on in your marriage. You could be in your 30s, your 40s. These are things you need to start implementing now, so that when you get to that 50, 60, you already have that groundwork laid.
Yeah, and it's funny. I wanted to jump in when you said that, Cherie, because it was earlier on. The work that you and I did 26 years ago, I believe, without us knowing it, set us up to have success today.
Right.
And because you and I had a frame of reference of before 26 years ago, for me, let's go 12 years before 26 years ago. For you, let's go 2 marriages before 26 years ago, right? There were some things that took place in those relationships that were epic fails.
Right.
And I needed somebody who was doing it different, that could show me, not only by telling me, but by equipping me to say, look, this is what I did wrong. This is why I did it. Was my frame of mind and reference, because it's not about blame, but it is about the idea of, I never understood it that way, y'all, because most of us grew up in families where what goes on in this house stays where?
In this house.
Put it in the chat. Y'all know that. Nobody goes outside talking about their business. Nobody goes outside talking about their failures. As a matter of fact, in most cases, to grow up talking about where you failed, you were perceived as weak. Just get yourself together. Come on, snap out of it. All of those things. The problem is 25 years down the line.
Right.
The problem is, should your relationship last that long? And in our case, it wasn't lasting. So really, the immediate fix was about, how do we make it past? I never will forget, babe, when you and I used to celebrate the small victories of benchmarks that mattered in our previous relationships. And I had recognized that every 3 years in my former marriage, there was something that took place that took me further away from the relationship. And this was after years of looking back on it. And so every 3 years that she and I were together, it made me say, I'm 3 years closer to being where I need to be. And that was huge, because we were seeing people who were winning, who had been through what we had been through. And so if that's you, you need to be in this room.
Right. And I mean, we didn't get it right
at all
in the beginning. There were things, and we're going to talk about this in the workshop next week. There are certain things that will pull you away from your relationship, other than your children.
For sure.
And we're going to talk about those things and how can you attain balance. And that's the biggest thing. There has to be balance in your marriage. And oftentimes we get so focused on one area and we devote all our energy to that we lose sight of the we.
Absolutely.
And I think that people have lost sight of the we in marriage, because there's this whole, I want to be independent, I want to have my career, I want to be a parent, I want to, all these other things. They're good things.
Yes.
But they should not take away from the marriage. And I think 100%. That's the biggest thing. And so during next week, we're going to talk about what are some of those things that do pull you away from your marriage that you may not be aware of.
Right.
And how can you achieve that balance? What are some things you can put in place to achieve that balance, so that when you do get to that next season, you're prepared, because you've been investing in the two of you.
You know what? I want to leave y'all with this. I want y'all to think through, what does it look like to invest in you? I want you to think through, what does an investment look like in you? As business owners, Cherie and I know what it looks like to invest in a business. Because of our investment in our business, we're able to live abroad and work completely online, right? Most people who move abroad, their thought is, how will I make money? That is not our worry. And I don't mean that to sound braggadocious. I want you to understand that that took preparation.
Right. We prepared.
We prepared for that day. It wasn't a forced, we weren't running from something, we were running to something that we had prepared for. What would it look like if you got to the point to where when your kid was ready to go off to college, you had already prepared for that day? And so therefore you very easily move into your next. Very easily you can now celebrate what's to come. That's what we want you guys to understand is real. And I'll be honest with you, every day that we wake up, babe, I often say to myself, we didn't ask for this. But in a sense, we did.
Right.
Because we prepared the framework of our relationship to say yes to this when the opportunity came.
Right. And the thing that breaks my heart the most is seeing couples who have entered into that next phase, whether it's empty nesters or whether it's retirement or whether it is them moving abroad. And unfortunately, we've even seen it with couples that have moved abroad that did not do that work. You get into that next phase, you realize you don't know this person anymore. You don't know if you like this person anymore.
That part.
And unfortunately, we have witnessed couples that have parted ways when they've entered that season because they realize we didn't do the work beforehand, and I don't want to do it now. It's too late.
I'm too tired.
I'm too tired. I'm in this phase. I just want to chill. I don't want to have to work that hard.
If they can't get it,
if you do the work on the front end, when you enter that season, marriage is still work, no matter what phase you're in.
I don't care what nobody tell you.
But it's not as hard.
That part.
If you've done the work, if you've laid the groundwork. Yep. And so our hope is that if you do decide you're going to move abroad and you find your forever place, wherever that is, whether it's in the States, whether it's abroad, whatever it is, when you enter into retirement, when you enter into that empty, let me just share this. When you get to that phase in your relationship, that season when the kids are gone, that's supposed to be like a new honeymoon season in your marriage.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the reality is it's not that for many couples. Because you haven't invested in your relationship, because you guys haven't remained friends, because you haven't fostered and nurtured that relationship, it turns into a drudgery. It turns into boredom. It turns into a lot of negative things because you didn't do that work. That should be the most exciting season in your marriage.
Absolutely the most. And the reason why is because you've spent every waking moment up until then giving for something or someone else. Let's just be dead real. The first 18 years of them little jokers' life, it's all about them, investing in them, positioning them, making sure that they get to the right schools and to the right teachers and to the right environments and the right friends, all of the things. It's not about you. So you do take a back seat. We get that as relationship coaches. We see that all the time in the MAPS Relationship Academy where we're encouraging, listen, be in the moment.
Yeah.
But Cherie, you said something that gave me goosebumps. When that season comes and they are gone, the sad truth is we have so put them first and not even prepared for our next that our next becomes something that it was never supposed to be.
Right, right.
And I just want to, and if you hear the passion, it's because I'm pulling for you. You said I do years ago. Clearly, y'all like each other. Clearly, you.
Can you do you really want to say I do again?
That part. Like starting over, y'all, we're going to get into that. And I can't wait to share some of these stories we're going to share in the workshop. Y'all, click the link, find out where it is, make the time. It's a 3-night deal.
Next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It's 3 nights. Go ahead and register. It's June 17th, 18th, and 19th.
A very nominal cost.
It's a nominal fee
very
just to
nominal.
come in the room. And we hope that we can add value to you and help you to prepare for your next.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, here's what I can promise you. You cannot, absolutely, I don't care what anybody tells you, you can't get to any place of significance by yourself. Because we all need some help. Y'all be good, and we'll talk to y'all soon.
Bye, guys.